Hello friends, hello YouTube, how are you guys doing? Rainbow here with another NERF mod tutorial video, and today is all about the installation of our Rampage Shotgun Inline Clip Kit Mark 1. And yes, it's a bit of a weird name, but that's essentially what it does, so that's how we named it. So this will be an installation guide on the Mark 1 kit, all the things that you need and all the optional things that you can decide whether or not you want them will be in here. Now I've done a full video on the internal setup, which is why I'm going to skip this in this video. So this is linked in the video description. So if you want to see the internal setup, go check it out. But this is going to be focusing on the externals mostly. Okay. So what this kit essentially does, it turns your Rampage that kind of looks something like this into kind of something like this. So from a mech-fed blaster into a side-loading through the jam door, side-loading shotgun style inline clip blaster. Okay, so on the table right now you can see all the 3D printed parts. Some of them are optional, and all the additional parts that you need, and I'm going to talk you through this. So you need a 3D printed parts, you need some sort of PVC barrel, you need some sort of brass. You will need M3 nuts, M3 screws in different sizes, some super glue, and yeah, that's sort of kind of it. Yeah, tools to cut the blaster and all that sort of thing. So yeah, let's go over these parts real quick. This is the grip, obviously. Put it over here. This is the gap closer that closes the front gap where you can attach the side rails to. This is the base for the top rails. These are all the top rails that you need. This is the optional plate to close the side if you cut off the mag well. This is a short dart holder. There is also a long dart holder, which looks essentially the same, just doesn't have the wall in the middle. So that'll hold 18 short darts or 9 elite darts. This is a shell holder for 12-gauge shotgun shells, because, you know, if you want to do this as a cosplay sort of setup, this looks a lot cooler. This is an optional piece that will be inserted into here to turn these things into dart holders. Okay, so if you're not using that, you don't need that, and so on. This is the no slam fire button, the slam fire delete essentially. So if you don't want a blaster to be able to slam fire, you install this instead of the orange part. This is the pusher breech, this is the gate, and this is a front adapter where the CPVC will sit in just snug, and you can screw on whichever NERF attachment you want to have in the front. All right, as I said earlier, the internals I have already covered in a very long and extended video, so that's linked in the description, so go check it out. I'm going to put these on the side, so don't worry about those. Also, with the internals out of the way, all the brass parts are not part of this video. I just wanted to have them in here to show you that this is what you also need. I also went ahead and installed pretty much all of the nuts. So as you can see, you need a bunch of M3 nuts. Most of them go into the rail bases, so the rails will be screwed into these nuts here. Depending on your printer tolerances, these just snap into place. If you find that they're a little bit loose, just add a little dab of super glue underneath them and just push them in snug. So there is 8 of those. Have this sitting over here because you're going to need it later. These are all the rails. Let's put all the rails aside for now as well, just over that way. This is the gap closer for the front, which also needs 1, 2, 3, 4 M3 nuts. And these ones are inserted from the top, and so the side rails will be screwed in like this. And these definitely need to be glued in, because otherwise they will fall out. I've went ahead and glued that in already with just using some standard super glue. And yeah, so that's this part. Let's have it over here. And as for the connectors or the dart holders on the side, doesn't need any nuts in here. The nuts will go into here, like on the gate. Hi friends, just quickly interrupting the video at this part. After I recorded the original video that you're currently watching, we did change a little bit of the design of the gate. It's not for functional reasons, it's more like for ease of installation. So the gate in the video looks like this, but yours is probably going to look like this. So don't be alarmed if they're not exactly the same, like, oh, it actually was just making that thicker and rearranging this gap in comparison to this one here. for ease of installation. So they do still work the same, so treat it as the same, but that's just to be said. The one in the video is going to be this, which still works fine, but the one that's now live is actually this one because it's easier to install. There you go. This is where this screws in, okay? So the nuts go in here, and same idea, because these slide in from the side, they will fall out. So just some super glue on the bottom and just glue them in place, and that'll be that. And yeah, so let's put it all together. So here, prepared a Rampage just here, where you can see this has internals in it already. And so we've got the bolts, nuts in here already. So this, the catch spring, beware not to crack this. And so all the internals, it's actually Blaster from the other video, all the internals are set up as I want them to. So the no slam fire is not in place because I actually like to have slam fire. If you don't, you remove this orange bar and place this just about like so in the bottom there. So it'll interact with the catch and the trigger. Okay, what I do need, however, leaving this barrel out for now, because if you install these, they will be slid, however, they'll be put in from the side, and this is why you can't install the barrel. This is why you don't glue this barrel, okay? So what I will put in place is the front here, and also do not forget the little attachment things on the top, because the way the rails are designed, they actually need those for friction, and there's a screw running right down onto them and then pushing them down. So you will want them in place. Don't worry about painting them though, you're not going to see them, so they can be orange. Yeah, so I have that over here. There we go. So I got that in place, got that in place, and yeah. I don't have this part here right now, which doesn't really matter, but you know, don't forget to install this and the little sling mount here. When you finally put in this together, I will take this apart again. This is just for documentation. Okay, so here's a little tip. Because with this, the trigger tends to jump out every now and then. So what I do is I put my finger down on the trigger and then put the shell on top of it and just slightly try to align everything. Oh, there we go. Everything pops into place. Nope, not quite. There we go. Okay, right. There we go. Close. Close, damn you. There we go. Okay, so this is this. I'm going to put just 1 or 2 screws in to hold this together. So as you can see here, I have cut off the mag well absolutely flat. So compared to another Rampage, the cut will be right here. So if you open this and get this out and unscrew this, there's still like about 1/2 centimeter, but you want to cut this all the way. Just a tip, don't cut it too close, just take a sander and then sand it down the rest to actually have it flat. You will take out all the things that are on this side of the shell, so you will end up with a little hole on the side here. If you don't want that, just letting you know, you got to close that somehow, probably, you know, with some plastic or glue from the inside or epoxy or whatever you want. If this bothers you, that's something you need to be doing. All right, so with all this in place, I like to start with the gap closer so I can get the barrel in there. This is the gap closer right here, and as stated earlier, that needs 4 M3 bolts glued into here, and on each side there will be 2 on each side there'll be 2 10-centimeter rails. Now depending on your printer's tolerances, you might want to drill those out a little bit with a 3mm drill bit, so the screws go through there nice and easy. They don't need to screw into here because they will screw into those nuts in there. So the way this works, there's only one way. It can't go in from this side, it will go from this side, just like that, and slide in. And you can see it'll just sit there flush, just about right there. So on the other side, there will be this bit, and there's also only one way. It cannot go this way. Well, could make it, I don't know. It has to go this way, right there. So now if you don't want side rails, now you can just sort of screw this into here and you don't have any side rails. But if you want side rails, what you will need is a 16mm screw on the side here. It goes through there and then through here, and then it'll screw right into that bolt, ideally, if everything's aligned. There we go. Oh, we're not going. Why are we not going? Okay, there we go. Yep. Sounds a lot better. So you got to align all the parts properly. So let's have another 16. Just right there. Okay, there we go. So on the other side, with a 16 screw, what you can do is like this rail, because you're going to be working on the other side a little bit, you can leave this rail to last, but for the purpose of this video, because it's one section, we're going to make it all together. This one actually could also do with just an M12. Okay, so like a 12 millimeters, not an M12, like a 12 millimeter screw. It doesn't need a 16 on this side. That will fit nice and easy. So you can use two 12 millimeter screws on that side and two 16 on the other side. Reason for that is obviously because there is that additional piece on the other side. Why are you not aligned? There you go. That should work. Okay. There we go. And done. So now this is right in there, and there you go, you got your gap closers and your side rails. This is then where I install the barrel. Goes through the front here. Gotta get out the tape. So one thing about the barrel, you just saw I removed the tape that was on here, because with this breech, the gate here, I don't need the tape. If you printed the wider version of the gate and you need the tape around here, you might want to print the wider version of this as well, or have that sort of sit in here beforehand, because it's a snot fit right there. So now this all goes all the way through here, and you can double check, you can open this just a little bit, that you got to go all the way into there and actually come out. I don't know if you can see this right there. Let me check if you can see this. There's no light. Hands in the way. There we go. Right there, because that's where this needs to close. Okay, well, this is how it sits, and onwards we go. So next up, we're going to do the top rails. So with the top rails, there's these two bits. They're marked front and back. Okay, so this is in the front, this is in the back. They go like this, so these little slits are on the side. These little pieces are just the end caps kind of for the rail, and they are a very tight fit. So also, depending on your printer settings, you might need to file this down a little bit. If you find that they are too loose, you can just add some glue, but they're meant to sit on there just like so, nice and tight. If you find that they're falling off, just add some glue, but make sure that they are flush. This is how they go. Okay, now we need the rest of the rails, and so the back piece goes on first. So the way this works, you can see like it has these two bits here that'll hold on to the NERF rail, because there's like a gap in here. This is where you insert that, and then you got to push this down, and yes, it'll flex a little bit, but it should be fine. So push this down, and then make sure it goes over this one right here, and then once the second one comes down, you're all good to go, and you kind of want to set it to just about there. And so now you can double check this hole right here should now align with the little orange nub. So no way to show this in the video, but if I look into here now, I can see this is perfectly aligned with just the middle of this section there. And that'll be important for later. So now second one looks a little bit different. So that's the front part, and it'll just do just that. It'll slide on from, whoops, it'll slide on from the front and just up to there. And also the same thing, this screw hole, so the second one from the front and the second one from the back, this will align with the orange bit underneath, just right there. And this is how that goes. Now you will need two 12 millimeter. So for the orange ones, you'll need 12 millimeter screws. And for the other ones, you only need 10 millimeter. Don't use anything longer than that, because you're going to start screwing into the NERF plastic and pushing this upwards. Okay. The way the rails go is just align them with the holes really. It's 15, 15 and 10. All right, let's do this real quick. Probably going to do a time lapse on this. So that's a 12mm now, because that'll screw right onto the orange nub. And that's what holds the rail in place, okay? So another 10. Well, let's not do all of them. And one last 10mm one in the back here. Just measure right there. And as you can see, if you're using black screws with like countersunk screws, that's actually looking a lot nicer. And so that is the top rail done. Okay, doesn't move, doesn't wobble. That's all good, nice and easy. All right, now we haven't installed this, we're not planning on. Let's talk about the side. So you have the different options that I said. The original idea was just to have this here and have it closed. Does work, yeah, but obviously that's wasted space, so to speak. You can attach dart holders of various kinds. So this is the short dart holder. There's also a long dart, standard dart holder that holds 18. The other one 19, 9. Yeah, because the same design, just without the wall, so it's 9. With these, you don't have to have this in place. You can go just put that onto there, okay? And that's totally fine. It gives you save about 2mm in profile, and that's all good. I just like the way this feels when it sits on here, which is why I'm using this, okay? You don't have to, you can. And we're not going to install this for the purposes of this video because I think you all know how a short dart holder works. We're going to be installing this, which is the shotgun holder, shotgun shell holder. So two 20mm screws for this from the top here, going through right there and through there. And just to remember, they screw into the gate, which is also a thing. You have to take this apart when you want to open the blaster again. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you kind of have to undo all the body work when you open the blaster. So yeah, be sure that internals are working and are good to go before you install all that. There we go. That'll do. Come on. So there we go. Nice and easy. And the other one right there. And there we go. All right, these are the two. And now this is a holder for shotgun shells, as I said. So if you have access to those, you know, just buy empty shells and they're clean. This bit is a 3D printed one that wants to be pushed into here. I have 3 more over here where I've already done this, so now you can see how this looks. So on this, I thought I have saved the one for the video. So it's a very tight fit, especially when it's cold. All right. And you want to have them a little bit further down, as you can see here. So the way I do this is just kind of like this, or use a tool of sort that you can safely use to push this down a little bit more. Just about that much. Okay, what this also does is it makes them sit into here a lot tighter. And now you can just insert all of those through there. And there you go. Have your shotgun look, which is also a storage for normal sized darts. There you go. That's what this does. All right, now we're almost done with this part of the kit. There is still the grip. The grip also needs 2 nuts inserted here and then glued in place down there. Make sure that when you put super glue on them and put them in here, to just use a screwdriver and push them all the way down so they sit all the way down. And then it uses 2 16mm screws. They're already in there. And so, pretty simple. Just align this. And then this goes flat on top. And then just screw it together. Find the screws somewhere in there. And that's 2. And there you go. Let's put this on the side. This is the installation of the Mk1 kit. And now you can obviously go with a stock of your choice. I have a very specific one that I tend to use a lot, but whichever stock that you fancy with this will do. Now your Rampage is essentially a breech loading blaster. As you can see here, I have disabled the connecting part to the sled on purpose, so I can have this open or closed as ever I want. So when you push this back, now you can actually start loading the breech just like that with X amount of short darts, however long your inline clip is. Because I have no proper inline clip in here, it's probably not going to fire. Ha, that was cute. Still one though. There we go. Works. Fantastic, even though there's no inline clip in here. But yeah, so now that is it. This was the installation for the Mk1 kit. So essentially turning your Rampage from something like this, I use a magazine, into something like this. Again, for the complete internal installation, please check out the video in the description below. And if you have any questions about the Mk1 kit, feel free to get in touch. If you want one of those kits, we're selling these kits through our shops, so links are in the description, or get in touch. Also, there are the files available on my Etsy shop, so if you want to print it yourself, you can also do that. And yeah, that's this. However, this isn't everything. As I've already teased before, there is a second version of this kit, which is a little bit more inspired by a certain named real-life shotgun. And this is going to be coming out fairly soon. So we're just working on a couple of little tweaks for that. And I'm working on a build to show it off. So this is coming out very soon. So now there you have it. This is the final version of the Mk1 kit. Compared to the colors of the Void build, mainly the grip has changed and some internal things. But there you go. This feels really, really nice. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have fun modding. As always, please, like and subscribe to the channel. Go check out social media and everything. Make sure to check out Fletton as well, because he's been amazing designing most of those parts. And yeah, if you haven't already, subscribe, follow, and all that sort of jazz. Other than that, happy nerfing, happy modding, and I'll see you next time. Love and sunshine.